We like to consider ourselves a fair and balanced podcast, whatever we are, like a YouTube show. We are fair and balanced. We are not going to let our bias get in the way when talking about one Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know Steeler fans think we biased, think we don't have the Steelers' best interest in mind when we have our takes about them. But maybe reality just has an anti-Steeler bias at this point. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's just the case. Cole, do you think the Steelers are going to be a championship contender this year?
Here's the thing about the Steelers. Here's the thing about the Steelers.
I'm not talking about can they make the playoffs. Championship contender. We got to really think about this.
Nah, they're not.
No, come on. Yeah, come on.
They're not. They're not.
If the Steelers won the Super Bowl this year, it would be one of the biggest surprises in NFL history.
All right, NFL history.
Who has won the championship in recent years that would be a bigger surprise than Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Think about it.
You can't even say the Nick Foles Eagles because we thought they was going to be good that year.
No, they were great. They were great before
Carson Wentz almost won the MVP. Who would be a bigger surprise? Who in recent memory? It's not even like what we gotta go all the way to Eli Manning. And Eli Manning, a Hall of Famer.
I'm about to say that's a Hall of Famer.
First round, first pick in the draft.
Oh, that's a Hall of Famer. You can't say Eli.
Ooh. I mean, we gotta go all the way to the year 2000. I feel like my claim is correct. It would be one of the biggest surprises in NFL history.
Yeah, okay. It might be a pretty big surprise. It
would be a massive surprise. It would be a massive surprise. Like, I'm not saying it would be the same surprise as if like the Buccaneers won it with Baker Mayfield or something like that. But it wouldn't be that much different of a surprise. You know what I mean? And honestly, you can make the argument it would be more of a surprise because you got to just go through the NFC. You can get lucky in a path through the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. The AFC, dog, if they win the Super Bowl out the AFC with Kenny Pickett. Come on.
Dog, just getting out of the AFC North in general with Kenny Pickett would be crazy. The best division of football. If they got out the best division of football with Kenny Pickett starting at quarterback, that'd be pretty amazing.
And I usually say, hey, man, you can make the playoffs, you get to the Super Bowl. Not them. Not them. Not this year. No, I'm pretty sure of it. Like every year, there's like one or two teams in the playoffs where you're like, they're going to be out in the first round. And it's not a surprise. You know, the Raiders make it. You know what I mean? Like, the Chargers make it. Okay. They about to be out real quick. Let's hear what ESPN has to say. Do they think the Steelers are Super Bowl contenders this year? I know Steelers fans just love me, man.
I think it's still too early to have a true sense of this is the year because they always say you don't want to be the guy who's just crushing it with no pads on. You don't really know the personality of everybody yet. So it's too early for that, but I'm very encouraged with the direction we're going, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is what I can speak for. Guys are flying around, having a lot of fun, communicating, and making a lot of those splash plays, and that's all you can really ask for this time of the year. And quote, here's Patrick Peterson who added, quote, I do, and what it's going to come down to is we have all the pieces that we need on defense. We know defense wins.
Hey, shout out to the people who just learned that Pat Pete's still in the league. You know what I mean? They just found out right now. Oh, Pat Pete's still in the league?
Like, I knew he was still in the league. I forgot he was with the Steelers now.
Hey, man, remember I'm just saying, there used to be a team that would pick up like veterans at this stage in their career, and we would have this feeling of like, oh, that's what they doing now. Yeah, I can't remember what that team was or the team's name. You know, they went away in 1995, came back in 1999. They wore orange. Something feels very familiar, you know, from like the stuff that we talking about in that team back in the day. I can't put my finger on it though, you know.
Wins championships. We have talent across the board on the offensive side of the ball. You know it's all.
What's that team that Willie McGinnis played for at the end of his career?
Put the ball where it needs to go. I believe he is a guy that we can rely on, a guy that we can count on. Now it's all going to fall on him if he can go out there and show us what he's capable of doing.
Just can't put my finger on it.
Quote, All right, so the question is, could this be a Super Bowl winning defense? Peterson seems to think so. And
I wasn't the one that brought it up. They said, could this be a Super Bowl winning defense?
I was just about to tell you. Pause it. Let's go through it.
They started 2 rookies.
I like Keanu. You know this.
We like Keanu Benton.
We loved Keanu Benton.
Hey, cool.
We wanted him to be on the Browns. So I'm not gonna say nothing bad about Keanu Benton because I really wanted them to draft him. He's gonna be good.
Yeah, he will be good. I don't know if he's gonna be good year one. D tackles take a while to develop. Right?
Sometimes it takes a second. Sometimes it takes a second.
You know what I mean? Cam wasn't Cam until like his 5th year in the league. But they got Cam Hayward. He's really good. TJ Watt. Like, nobody's questioning that defensive line, whether you believe in Keanu Benton or not, whether you believe in Larry Ogunjobi or not. Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, and TJ Watt are enough. And then there's everything else. Oh, then Minkah Fitzpatrick.
I'm about to say, don't disrespect Minkah like that. Don't disrespect Minkah like that.
My bad. Minkah Fitzpatrick. But then there's everything else. You ever heard of Cole Holcomb?
I have not.
What about Elandon Roberts?
No.
Okay. I've heard of Keanu Neal.
I know who Keanu Neal is.
Yeah,
Joey
not great
Porter.
Things about Keanu Neal, but I've heard of Keanu Neal. Joey Porter might be good.
Joey Porter might be really good, but he's a rookie, so you got and then rookie corners, it can go either way.
And look, I like Pat Pete, and Pat Pete had a bounce back last year. But also, he played on the only team that had a wide receiver worth a damn. So in that division. So, well, I mean, like, they had St. Brown on the Detroit Lions, but I don't know how good Pat Pete still is. And now they're going to ask him to play more press man at an advanced age. In the AFC North, we talk about the Bengals. We talking about whatever the Ravens throw out there. We talk about Amari Cooper on Pat Pete. I don't know about that one.
Look, man, the AFC North is rough, bro. And if you're assuming that Deshaun Watson is going to return to the form he had when he was with the Texans, especially if he gets back to like 2020 Deshaun Watson when he led the league in passing yards, the Steelers are going into every single division game, assuming Lamar is going to stay healthy. They're going into every single division game knowing that the opposing team has a significantly better quarterback.
And that's if Kenny Pickett is as good as they think. Right? Like, that still has, you know how many quarterbacks have had a okay start to their career and then just terrible their second year? League adjusted.
Baker?
What team he played for, man?
I don't know.
Yeah, it feels familiar. There is something that feels real familiar. You know what I mean? Like, Cole, imagine if this team, instead of wearing black and yellow, wore like brown and orange or something like that. I don't know why I thought of those colors or something like that. But like, imagine if we was talking about this team over there. Would we be saying that this is a team that would achieve anything? Would we be uttering Super Bowl with this team?
No.
You don't think
we wouldn't.
You don't think Myles Garrett-Alone would do it? You know what I mean? Like, they said this. Is this a Super Bowl winning defense? Dog, the Eagles in the same state. You know what I mean? Like, we know what one looks like. This is a good defense. You know what I mean? I've seen the Browns go like 6-10 with this defense before. Like, they maybe 7 wins, maybe 8 wins, because like, TJ Watt's significantly better than like anybody pre-Myles Garrett that we had on the team. But this is what I'm saying, man. I just think we're having a hard time letting go of the Steelers being a top tier franchise when they stuff smell. It smell real familiar, Cole. You know what I mean? It smells real familiar.
I'm gonna stop you because the Steelers got one thing, and I'm gonna defend the Steelers. I hate doing it, but I'm gonna defend the Steelers. One thing. Don't do that. The Steelers got one thing.
He always played devil advocate. At some point, you have to ask: is he just as loyal?
Everybody know what my loyalties are. You can check my timeline from today. You'll see what my loyalties are. But listen, they got one thing that I always respect. They got Mike Tomlin. I'm not saying it.
That's the only reason I'm saying they're going to go 500 or a game over 500. That's the only reason I think they could make the playoffs.
They're going to be above 500 again because they have Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
And he's going to figure out a way to get 9 wins out of this team.
Now, provided that Kenny Pickett does not turn into a disaster. Because
assuming that, yes.
I feel like we took that off the table. I don't know why. Like, I get it. He had like a couple nice drives at the end of his rookie year. So we completely took off. Hey, man, maybe he might not, like, he's still under evaluation off the table. Kind of like how we done with Trevor Lawrence. And I don't know why. Because Trevor Lawrence, I get it. We've been waiting for that to happen. Kenny Pickett, on the other hand, it's like, man, come on now. Like, what about him makes you feel like we should just trust it? Like, what about it? Like, at least with Trevor Lawrence, he's a physical, like, beast. Kenny Pickett is like every other quarterback that's come out in the last, like, 5 years. Like, there's a Kenny Pickett every year. You know, at least athletically speaking, like, he's not anything special there. So, I just think, you know, we're putting a lot of faith. But let's continue. Let's hear my man Swag Cool.
The Swag Goat. TJ Watt is healthy and removed, of course, from that torn pec suffered last year. Alex Highsmith, other side, he had 14.5 sacks last season. Secondary is going to add not just Peterson, but also second-round pick Joey Porter Jr., All-Pro Minka Patrick returns at safety as well. So a lot of confidence from two of the respected veterans on that defense, Bina. But do you have as much confidence they can carry this team this year?
Well, I think that they'll be a good unit, Field. I thought they actually held up reasonably well, despite the fact they didn't have TJ Watt, who's one of the best players in the NFL for a good chunk of last season. Alex Highsmith, you mentioned, really emerged as a true bookend at pass rusher. So this should be one of the more formidable fronts, yes, in football. And I think in the secondary, that combination of experience with Peterson and then the youth with Joey Porter Jr. also really looks good. My concern is one that, frankly, has been a concern with Pittsburgh ever since the retirement of Ryan Shazier, and that's at linebacker, because that, looking at that depth chart, that's what stands out to me, the very middle of the defense as continuing to be an issue, both potentially in run defense and in coverage. You got Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts coming in as free agents. And if I was an offense playing this team, that is what I would look to attack in the pass game as well as running the football. So I think that could be a potential pitfall for an otherwise very good unit.
Marcus, let's talk offense now after those thoughts from Mina on the defense, because what does it come down to for this Pittsburgh team? I'm not talking about just like Kenny Pickett being good enough to win, but Kenny Pickett being the reason the Steelers win. How do they get to that point?
Yeah, I think first it starts with him and Matt Canada and how they want to operate offensively. Obviously, Kenny Pickett I think he doesn't get enough credit for his athleticism. Matt Canada, we know, likes to use motion and get defenses kind of find clues and figure out things. But sometimes, like, Kenny Pickett just plays straight up quarterback, and he was solid. Right? Like getting your feet under you and dealing with trying to come in and take over after a legend leaves. He made some really good plays. Now it's about depending on Deontay Johnson. And obviously, hopefully that Pickens can step up and emerge as your number one guy. But I want to see how he is deployed. I want to see how Kenny Pickett, where the confidence level is to allow him. Remember, we were having a conversation about the Pittsburgh Steelers and they wouldn't push the ball downfield, and whether it was Mitch Trubisky being worried about doing it or if it was just something that offensively they weren't trying to have as an identity. I think this year you got to open this thing up. I like this defense, like MK said, but we know in this day and age in the NFL, if you can't find times to be prolific offensively, you probably got no shot at being able to do what you plan on doing, especially with Lamar Jackson and seeing if Deshaun Watson is going to emerge in that division as well, and Joe Burrow goes without question.
Yeah.
He's saying they cook.
In Green Bay, where
he's saying they cook.
Excited.
That's what's being said. He's saying they're done, Cole. I ain't saying.
That's not what he said.
That's what he said.
That's not what he
Marcus
said.
Spears says the Steelers don't have what it takes. Put it out there. Put the quote out there. We got views to get.
We got views to get. I respect it, but listen. It's just they're gonna have a rough go of it, man. Like they're gonna have a rough go of it because
Cole, how many passing touchdowns do you think the Steelers had last year?
I gotta remember because Mr. Trubisky was a quarterback at first.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying team passing touchdowns.
13.
Mm-mm. They had
200. I was close.
They had 12. They had 12 passing touchdowns last year. 12 passing touchdowns. And we out here still giving Matt Canada the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean?
That's another thing. As long as they got Matt Canada, you shouldn't be scared of that team.
Why are we giving them the benefit of the doubt? Why are we giving them the benefit of the doubt? Like what?
Steelers fans don't even like Matt Canada. They hate him so much.
What do we always say is fool's gold in sports? When a team starts winning late. You know what I mean? Like, not enough to make the playoffs, but enough to make it a little interesting. It tends to be fool's gold. I can't remember what team was it called that made a run at the end of the year with the rookie quarterback. And then they got to a reasonable record, and then we was talking about the last 8 games of the season as a reference for what the start of next year was. Ah, man, I cannot remember that team. Dude, it was in 2018. Remember, like, there was a team, like, I think it was, he wore number 6 or something, but we were out here quoting, like, oh, man, but yeah, ignore what he did the whole season, but, like, the last 8 games, right? Kind of like what they're doing with, man, I wish I could remember the team that we were talking about, but this just smells so familiar. You know what I mean?
They ain't gonna like this. They ain't gonna like this. That's all I'm gonna say.
Man, that just, there's something about this, Cole, that's uncanny. You know, you ever hear the Berenstein Bears thing? Like, this is, I can't remember. Was this a mirror universe that I lived through? Like, what happened? You know? Do you know what I'm talking about, Cole?
We in the Twilight Zone?
I feel like I've been here before. You know, it reminds me of my first year doing this. Whatever year it was, it's just some deja vu is strong. My mind can't bake up the thoughts to really like think of it. You know, it's lost on the ship. It's lost in the sea, the team that this is. And I'm waiting for these thoughts to manifest itself on the coastline, like the Mayfield, you know what I mean? Or the Mayflower, my bad. You know, it's just, there's something eerily similar about it. Huh. I'm just saying. I remember when what did that end like? Well, man, what did that end like? What was the next year like for that team in 2018? They had a good year after that, right? They had a good year. Oh, they didn't? Oh yeah, they had a questionable offensive coordinator too, man. I can't believe I can't remember this team. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, yeah, that's their problem. I'm just saying, it smells familiar. I wish I could put my finger on it. Rookie quarterback, had a hot last stretch of the games, but like overall the statisticals weren't over. Well, I don't know. Even I remember that quarterback breaking some kind of record that year. So I guess it was overall a little bit more impressive than what Kenny Pickett did. But the same principles apply, generated a lot of interest with the last few games of the season. People thought that would just magically carry over, and then all of a sudden the season started next year. And then I just don't know what happened to that dude, but he just never really replicated that level of success that he had his rookie year. I wish I could put my finger on it. I know this isn't great content for y'all, but Steeler fans in the chat, if y'all know what team I'm referring to that reminds me so much of where you guys are as a fan base, let me know in the comment section down below. You know what I mean? Tell me what team this makes you feel like, what experience this makes you feel like you living through. You know what I mean? Tell me what you thought. Give me 6 reasons or 6 teams that this reminds you of. Just want to know. I just want to know. Cole, you got anything else to say, man?
Hey, man. Good luck. God bless.
About what?
That's all. I'm
about
talking
what?
About Steelers. I'm talking about Steelers fans.
Oh, yeah, Steelers fans. I hope I got to find out if that story ended well for that guy. You know what I mean? I got to find out. And even the comments to this, man, like, I don't know, this feels pretty similar. I saw somebody be like, hey, man, he's going to be top 12. We don't need him to be number 1 in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like,
top 12 what?
Oh, quarterback.
Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
Good luck. God bless.
Man, it's something. It's something. Time is a flat circle. I wish I could remember what team reminded me, but tell me, what team does this remind you of? What situation does this remind you of in the comment section below? And do you think Kenny Pickett winning the Super Bowl would be one of the more improbable Super Bowls you've ever remembered? Okay. Like, I'm just asking the questions. I'm just asking the questions. I'm not trying to rile up any specific fan base independently. But y'all have a great day. Have a good night. 2018 Browns.